To me, the Qu'appelle Valley is a romantic place. Not just, lovers and sweethearts romantic, but also just, I think about the lives of our most ancient grandmothers and grandfathers and how they survived.
Tucked along the winding roads of the Qu'appelle Valley lies a hidden gem, the village of Lebret. Starting at the valley's western edge, near Echo Lake, is where Dana Henderson and her children love to hike, play, and roll down the hills.
We kind of do a trail across the field. I can do it with my children now, which is awesome.
COVID-19, along with the death of her father, brought Henderson back to this land. It's the same land that she wandered on as a child.
That year that my dad passed, that summer, it was just like this, I don't know how to describe it, but it was just like this yearning to connect, and I felt so peaceful. And I discovered when you're in a place like this, there's messages, right? And it's just up to us to hear it.
And for Henderson, reconnecting with the land meant wearing moccasins every day for an entire year.
And people would always comment, and I actually wore out soles and moccasins, but it felt so good. And how that made me feel, I wanted to give that to my kids. And growing up, my dad would always talk about it, right? But you don't listen to things like that. Like he would identify plants for me and different things, and I think I'm wanting that knowledge back, and I'm trying to find it.
For many, like Henderson, that knowledge lies in this valley. It's the perfect spot for a picturesque drive. As you leave Echo Lake and wind through the hills eastward, just past Fort Qu'appelle, you'll eventually find yourself in a scenic village. And if you look up, you can't miss it. A bright, white-lettered Welcome to Lebret sign. Near that landmark lies an historical church, 2 antique shops, a bar, and even a glass cutting shop. Dorothy Ball says people come in almost every day asking about the history of the church. But for those who have never come this way before, they may not know the dark past that this land holds. It's something Michael Starr knows all too well. He's the chief of the Star Blanket Cree Nation. Starr once attended the Lebret Indian Residential School in the village. Blink and you'll miss the spot where it once stood, a vital piece of Canada's history.
Where we are now, the school was just at the back of me. It was a big brick school. It was about 4 stories high, and we still have the gymnasium, which is in our background, so we still utilize that for different activities.
The residential school was home to the successful Lebret Eagles hockey team. And in the 90s, many students remember the school fondly. But Starr doesn't want people to forget how this school and the church policies that ran it still have long-term intergenerational effects on Indigenous families.
How it hurt our people, how it took our language, how it took our culture away from us. And now that over time we have learned and we have understood what it has done to our people.
Today, Starr says he and his people are focused on healing. When the residential school was demolished in 2000, Starr says it was an emotional time for the survivors that went there. And many wondered what to do with the newfound space.
We have had plans on an economic development process with this site in bringing cottages, those kind of things, but when we brought it to our membership, they didn't want that. They wanted to be left the way it is, and it is a healing place, a way for our members to remember this space and to respect it.
For people like Henderson, much of how she deals with grief and trauma has to do with the land and how she interacts with it on a daily basis.
That grief is just something I never ever felt, and I just had this yearning to ground myself in some sort of way. And honestly, the way I dealt with the grief is it was like voices were telling me go to the ground. And so when I get that overwhelming feeling of I can't do this anymore, and I'm a single mom, so I think of my kids, I would literally go to the ground and go down and I just felt comfort. And my dad used to always talk about that connection that we have with Mother Earth, and we call her ni mama iki.
That connection is what sustains life here in the valley for people like Henderson, Starr, and Bethsaida resident Linda O'Halloran. She's called the Qu'appelle Valley home for more than 45 years.
I love this valley with every inch of my soul. I love the seasons. Like right now, the colors are sort of dissipating, but they've been just fantastic this year. The summer is when the grandkids are out and everybody's on the lake. The winter is when the ski hill and skating starts. I mean, there's always something to do. And I just feel so thankful to live in such a beautiful setting every day.
Natanis Piepot, CBC News, Qu'appelle Valley, Saskatchewan.